All right, John. So you mentioned that you worked with Harrison Ford,
Right.
and he was your most favorite person
Yeah.
to work with.
Absolutely. Um, I'd like to say, talk about just actors in general. Somehow I thought, because they're rich and famous and make $20 million a film, I expected them somehow to be different, but it turned out to be almost like anything else. Some are really nice, good people, and some not so much. Harrison Ford, I did a scene with him called In Random Hearts. Um, like I said, I wasn't never a big actor, just a small actor. Once in a while I would get lines, not often. Um, and I
Are
had
you
a,
feeling lucky? Is that Harrison?
yeah. No, are you feeling lucky? Huh? That's not.
Who's that?
Sounds like. Are you
Harrison.
feeling lucky, punk? No, Clint Eastwood.
Ah, okay.
You feeling
All
lucky,
right.
punk?
Yes.
Okay, so I had to punch Harrison in the stomach. So, the off-duty cops were getting into a fight in a bowling alley, and of course, I pulled a punch, and then this is first rehearsal, and he comes over to me and says, well, first, he introduced himself to me, such a small thing, but most actors don't even do that. I mean, like, you knew who he was, but he was polite to come over and introduce himself to me. Now, during this scene, he said, John, right? Your name is John? You remember my name or like that? He said, okay. He said, punch me. In the business, we call it, give me something to work with. In other words, instead, hitting him enough so he can react to it. Making it a little bit easy to react to. So we do the second rehearsal. So I hit him, not hard, and then cut after the second rehearsal. And he comes over, puts his arm around me. John, right? Yeah, John. He said, look, I want you to punch me hard enough to make me fart. You got that?
All right.
But he was just a, easy, real down-to-earth guy to work with. And, we did the scene. That was good. And just that scene with them, and I liked them right away.
Mm-hmm. So he's an all-round pretty decent guy, yeah?
Yeah.
From what you saw. All right, fantastic. You also mentioned one of your least favorite actors, which is Denzel Washington, who I have to say he has been one of my favorite actors since I watched Training Day many years ago. But I've never worked with him, so please tell us.
Well, he's not one of my least favorite actors. He is my least favorite, not one of my least.
Okay, you care to explain? This is from the movie Hurricane, yeah?
Yeah, we're doing the movie Hurricane. It was a court scene.
Yeah.
I'm playing a New Jersey policeman in court. Nice, beautiful old court. It was a period piece, and the court was right, and they had me in like a 1960s police uniform, beautiful uniform. And I'm standing right behind Harrison Ford in the courtroom, and
Denzel.
I'm standing right behind Denzel in the courtroom as keeping an eye on him. Now the scene was, the jury comes in, gives a verdict to the judge, and when the judge hits the gavel, I put him in handcuffs. The scene was the camera watching me putting him in handcuffs. Okay, so we're doing the first rehearsal. Norman Jewison was a director, good director. And Harrison Ford is resisting going in handcuffs. Well, I didn't think much of it because of the business. We call it giving you something more to work with.
Yes.
So he wanted to make more of a scene out of it, so he was resisting. And he was, calling me motherfucking this, motherfucker that. So I'm saying, okay, I'm going along. It's the scene that he was making. I mean, the actors get a script and then they can work it many ways, and but that was the way he was doing it. So the resistance was so great, I had to push him across the top of the table and to get him in handcuffs. And Norman Jewis and the director comes running out and says, "Cut, cut, cut!" And Denzel was still cursing at me. So when he yelled cut and he's still cursing, that was my first clue that something was wrong.
Yeah.
So he pulls Denzel aside and spoke to him beyond my hearing, and then comes back to me and says he doesn't want to be placed in handcuffs. But that was the scene. So we had to spend like 40 minutes changing the light and camera, because now the scene was, I click the handcuffs and he just puts his thumbs together, and he's not handcuffed. So in the middle of, them changing all the lighting and the camera angle, I go over to him, I said, "Denzel, we okay on this now? You're just going to put your thumbs together." And then he starts going off on me again, and which surprised me. And I said, "I wonder what the scene is going to be like, because he's being hostile." So, wasn't sure what was going to happen, and I got angry that he was resisting me and throwing my elbows back, that he was really trying to hit me. Wasn't trying to give him something to work with. So that made me angry, so I wasn't sure what I was going to do if he did it again. But we did the scene when they filmed it, the other one too, with rehearsals, and it went smoothly. He didn't, do any of that stuff. Although I'm still not annoyed or angry that when he was flailing his arms back, that he was trying to harm me. Really, I wasn't, part of the scene. And when he continued cursing after the cut, was my clue that that this was something wasn't going right.
Mm-hmm. So what was the end of that anyway? You just parted ways and you never saw him again, or what?
I worked on films that he worked on, but many times you don't work on the same day.
Okay.
Because a film could take months to shoot, and there could be some stars in there, and you don't, they're not in every scene. So I didn't work with him again during that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think I worked with him a couple other times in movies he was in, but I didn't work the days that he was working.
Okay. Well, I see what you mean. When you're working on a set and you're not the star, and you may not, you might be an extra, and you can feel the vibe that the star is letting off because it spreads to everyone else. Like, I don't know if you heard a couple of years ago about Tom Cruise. He was apparently I think it was Tom Cruise was rude to the extras, and I think it was about COVID or something. But I can tell you that when I worked a few days that was on set with Zac Efron, the guy is fantastic. He was rubbing shoulders basically. No, keep them away from me. He was very assertive and listened to the director. He stood with the director and us, right? And like taking the instructions and had a really professional attitude. So props to Zac Efron, props to Harrison Ford. We're gonna give Clint Eastwood a shout out, just for the sake of it. And you know what? Respect to Denzel as well. These things, I guess, happen, and we have a story to tell about it as well.
Well, to finish with Denzel, during the break, when they're changing the lighting camera around, some of the crew, now the crew stays the whole production, several months. Most actors are in and out in a day, because if you're sitting in the background in a restaurant with, a camera picks you up and the stars are in the foreground, and they see you in another scene, they think, oh, maybe you have something to, do with it, more than sitting there as a background.
Yeah.
So you're in and out, because they don't want to put you in another scene because they don't want anyone thinking that.
You're going to be in the plot.
Right,
At the
you don't
end.
want to do
Yeah.
that. And crew told me that the day before, some actor came over to Denzel. This is the same, continuing Denzel's story.
Yeah.
Went over to Denzel and told him that he liked his work. Now, when that's usually pretty good when you hear from another actor.
Mm-hmm.
He had the guy fired off the set for talking to him. And the day that I worked with him,
Yeah.
we're supposed to do 2-in-1. 2-in-1 means we're shooting one day, but we're making it appear like it's two.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people in the gallery in the courtroom, had a change of clothes. Well, they never shot the second day because this crew member said that Denzel was so difficult to work with, and he was screwing up a lot of things, and they never got to shoot the second day, even though they brought their clothes and they were prepared to shoot it. So,
all right. Yeah. Well, success and power can get to one's head, and maybe he's a perfectionist also. Who knows? But we should treat people nicer, whoever we're working with and come across.
everybody?
Huh?
We have to treat everybody nicer?
Nicer, not nice. Nicer. All right. So, John, how old are you now?
76.
76. What a dashing, handsome
Yeah, right.
man. And
I'm the youngest old man you'll meet.
good man. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
And hopefully we speak again on
Good.
some matters. All right, thank you everyone.
Watch his stuff come, he's got more coming.
Coming soon.